Ryan Carter Poston was born on December 30th of 1982 in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky to Jay and Lisa Poston. His parents got divorced when he was young, and his mom remarried a man named Peter Carter. Peter raised Ryan as his own, and as a tribute to Peter, Ryan later changed his middle name to Carter. Lisa and Jay put their differences aside, spent holidays together, and blended their families to give him a stable and happy upbringing. He was a very kind and a very protective older brother. He grew up in a very well-known and well-connected family in northern Kentucky. Ryan lived with his mother and stepfather and his 3 younger half-sisters, Ellison, Catherine, and Elizabeth. Ryan was already a world traveler at a young age. In high school, the Carters moved to the Philippines and then Switzerland. Ryan graduated high school from the International School of Geneva. During that time, the distance was very hard on Ryan's father, so he was thrilled when they returned to the States. When the Carter family moved back to Kentucky, Ryan and his father spent a lot of time together and enjoyed a very close relationship. Jay would go over to Ryan's condo to clean and iron his clothes while he was busy with school and work. Most women considered Ryan the total package. He was extremely good-looking, ambitious, successful, and intelligent. Ryan's friends remember that when he would walk into a room, women would just flock to him. He was very charismatic, and he loved to discuss politics and world events. He had a love for knowledge and was one of those people who wanted to know facts about every little thing. He would have regular chess matches with his friends that would last for days. Ryan also had a love for guns. He was an avid gun collector and enthusiast. After high school, Ryan went to Indiana University for his bachelor's degree. The ever-ambitious Ryan triple majored in history, geography, and political science. He then went on to law school at the Salmon P. Chase College of Law at Northern Kentucky University in Highland Heights. After earning his law degree, Ryan began working as an attorney in Cincinnati. In 2009, Ryan Poston met Lauren Worley at a local bar. Lauren was a law student at the same school Ryan had just graduated from. It was love at first sight, and they fell fast and hard. They got an apartment together and adopted 2 puppies. Many of their friends thought that they would end up getting married. However, the 2 didn't last, and Ryan and Lauren broke up in 2011. Shortly after their breakup, Ryan's step-cousin Carissa suggested that he talk to one of her friends, 19-year-old Shayna Hubers. Ryan went through Shayna's spring break pictures on Facebook, and the 2 began talking. When they met in March of 2011, Shayna was finishing up her degree in psychology at the University of Kentucky, and she also did some part-time modeling on the side. She lived in Lexington, Kentucky, which was about 80 miles away from Ryan's condo. At only 19, Shayna was a woman who was already used to getting everything she wanted with ease. She had almost genius-level intelligence and breezed through her AP classes with all A's. She sang in the choir and took acting classes. Her bedroom was full of academic awards and accolades. Her friends remember that Shayna was extremely competitive and pushed herself to be the best at everything. Shayna always had to win. She had a flair for the dramatic and was never able to handle breakups very well. According to her friends, she would scream and cry and seemed to have a very difficult time moving on. Ryan and Shayna's 18-month relationship was tumultuous from the very beginning. Shayna was still very threatened by Ryan's ex-girlfriend Lauren and would frequently put people on the spot asking if they knew that Shayna was with Ryan now. She would also ask them if Lauren was more attractive than she was. When Ryan would have his other female friends around, Shayna would cling on to Ryan and be very cold to them. To say that their relationship was a roller coaster is an understatement. It was fueled by jealousy, frequent fights, cheating on both sides, and temporary breakups. Ryan's friends and family quickly noticed that Shayna was extremely possessive and needy. She would frequently show up at his apartment and his law office unannounced and refuse to leave. One night, Ryan left his own condo and stayed the night with his father because he couldn't get her out of his place. Shayna also figured out how to hack into Ryan's Facebook and started deleting and messaging all of his female friends. Ryan's friends and family were growing more and more concerned about her complete obsession with him. In the spring of 2012, Ryan opened his own practice and started to fulfill his dream of providing legal help to those who couldn't normally afford it. He was laser focused on growing his firm and was becoming miserable in his toxic relationship with Shayna. Shayna and Ryan were frequently fighting, and Shayna's behavior was becoming more and more obsessive and disturbing. Ryan's family, friends, co-workers, and even some of his neighbors had been dragged into the drama of their relationship. Ryan constantly told them how Shayna was the craziest girl he had ever met and that he had actually become scared of her. Despite all of this, they continued their toxic cycle of dramatic breakups and getting back together. One night in April, Shayna again refused to leave Ryan's condo, and he eventually became so frustrated that he threw her purse out into the hallway and then picked her up and tossed her out as well. Shayna went to his neighbor's condo and complained to her about how she did his laundry, walked his dogs, and went food shopping for him, yet he still didn't seem to want to be with her. She also complained that Ryan was verbally and emotionally abusive. She told his neighbor that he frequently told her she needed plastic surgery and to lose weight. Since Shayna had a key to his place, Ryan threatened to padlock his door. In the fall of 2012, Shayna was 21 and Ryan was 29. Shayna had just started her master's program in psychology and was attempting to hang on to her hot and cold, dysfunctional relationship with Ryan. Ryan was still entangled in the lawsuit with his former law partner and had become extremely stressed out and angry over the situation. This stress, along with the stress of Shayna's increasingly unstable behavior, was beginning to take a huge toll on him. On October 1st, Ryan took Shayna to the gun range with him. Shayna texted her friend Christy the following: "When I go to the gun range with Ryan tonight, I want to turn around and shoot him and kill him and play like it's an accident." With the pressure continuing to build with the lawsuit and his extremely turbulent relationship with Shayna, Ryan was being pushed to his limits. On October 4th, 2012, Ryan texted a friend, "There's nothing I want more than to just scorch the effing earth and leave this entire city in a pile of rubble." Ryan was throwing himself into work and was becoming more and more distant with Shayna. Finally, in October, Ryan decided he couldn't take Shayna's obsessive stalker-like behavior anymore. Unbeknownst to Shayna, he had begun talking to other women. Ryan's legal assistant, Lori Zimmerman, watched the relationship with growing concern. She was very disturbed by Shayna's obsessive behavior and the huge toll it took on Ryan. Lori witnessed firsthand how Shayna would call and text him at work 50 to 100 times a day. If she couldn't get him on his cell phone, she'd then call the receptionist and ask for him. If that didn't work, she would show up at their office and refuse to leave. On October 11th, 2012, Shayna joined Ryan at his parents' house for dinner and to watch the presidential debates. After their steak and asparagus dinner, Ryan pulled his father aside and told him he was ending things with Shayna for good. After the debates, they went back to Ryan's place to spend the night. He informed Shayna that he wouldn't be able to see her that weekend, and Shayna became very upset and couldn't sleep. After tossing and turning with her anxiety growing, she called her mother. She told her mom that she didn't feel well, and her mom drove the 80 miles to Ryan's condo and spent the night. On October 12th, Ryan awoke to find Shayna's mom sleeping in his living room. Shayna claimed she still wasn't feeling well and that she now had chest pains. She asked Ryan to take her to the ER. When he refused to do so, she left with her mom. After they left his condo, she texted him throughout the day about her ER visit. She told him that she ended up getting an EKG and was referred to a specialist. She went into detail about the daily medication she was prescribed. Ryan had just recently begun talking to Audrey Bolt on Facebook, who was also Miss Ohio. They had arranged to meet up at a bar later that evening. Although Shayna denies it, it's a fair assumption that she found out that Ryan was talking to Audrey. Shayna had regular access to Ryan's Facebook and was regularly checking up on him and everything he was doing. In fact, Shayna had just friended Audrey 2 days prior. She had also been spending quite a bit of time researching her online.
I would definitely love to be amazing at wakeboarding or snowboarding. I like both. Because right now all I can do is cling on to those handlebars during wakeboarding, and I would love to be able to do like some sweet tricks and show off and show the boys up. Or be able to be really cool and cut some snow on the snowboarding like we did at Chelsea Cooley's, except without face planting or...
While at work that day, Ryan was talking to his coworkers about his excitement over his date with Audrey that night. Lori Zimmerman remembers that she was extremely concerned about Shayna's reaction, and she warned Ryan to be careful. Ryan responded that he had it under control and not to worry. It appeared that Shayna either had direct knowledge or just an instinct that Ryan was ready to move on, and she had become desperate. Contrary to what Shayna had told Ryan, she had not gone to the ER and had spent the entire day out shopping with her mother. In a bid to get sympathy from Ryan, while Shayna was shopping, she was also Googling the symptoms of high blood pressure and heart disease so that she could sound believable. She even Googled the types of medication that she would be prescribed. Ryan made it home to his condo after work that day. Autumn was Ryan's favorite season, and he was feeling upbeat and optimistic about his date with Audrey that night. As Ryan walked through the parking lot, he texted Audrey about their plans later on. At first, they discussed meeting up at Ryan's condo, but eventually decided to meet up at a local bar. Ryan had a concealed carry license and carried to work every day. When he would get home from work, his habit was to set his gun down on his kitchen table. Sometime around 8:30 p.m., Shayna showed up to Ryan's condo unannounced. At 8:54 p.m. that evening, the following 911 call came into the Highland Heights Police Department.
Campbell County 911.
Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense.
Okay, where are you at?
I'm at 12 Meadow Lane, Highland Heights, Kentucky, 41076.
Okay, 12 Meadow Lane. Are you in a house or an apartment there?
It's an apartment. It's apartment suite 10.
Is it Meadow, anything else, Meadow View or something?
No, 12 Meadow Lane, ma'am. I killed him in self-defense.
Okay. Tell me again what unit you're in. It's not showing in my computer.
It's 10. It's unit 10.
Okay, you're at 12 Meadow Lane, unit number 10. Okay, hold on. What did you kill him with?
A gun, a loaded gun in the house.
Tell me where the gun is right now.
The gun is in the house.
Where at though, ma'am? Tell me where it's at.
I laid it on the bookshelf.
Where at? Laying on a shelf?
On the bookshelf. It's
Where are you?
I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body.
Okay, are you sure that he is dead?
He's dead, ma'am. He's completely dead.
Okay. And how long ago did you shoot him?
I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, not even that long.
10 or 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Shayna Michelle Huber.
I'm sorry, what is it again? Tell me.
Shayna Michelle Huber.
Huber?
Huber, H-U-B-E-R-S, Huber.
Okay, what's your name again? Shayna or Shayna?
Shayna, S-H-A-Y-N-A.
All right, Shayna, I'm just having a hard time hearing you. Okay, all right. Now, you're going to stay on you're going to stay on the line with me, okay? Because this is what we're going to do. The officers are going to want me to stay on the line with you, so when they get there, they're going to want to know where that gun is, and we want you to get out safely, too, okay?
Okay, are they going to arrest me?
Ma'am, I don't know what they'll do. We're going to send them out. I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay?
I mean, I'm not a murderer, ma'am. I just killed him.
What happened exactly? What happened?
He beat me and carried me out of the house. He beat me and tried to carry me out of the house, and I came back in to get my things, and he was right in front of me, and he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger.
Okay. All right. Do you need an ambulance? Have you been injured?
I'm not injured, ma'am. I was thrown into the side of the couch.
Okay. And how old is he?
He's 29. He'll be 30 he would have been 30 on December the 30th.
All right. What's his name? Ryan Carter Poston. He's an attorney in Cincinnati. Okay, have you had a history of domestic violence with him? Yes. Okay, and is this your gun? No, this is his gun. He keeps loaded guns in the house. So he slammed you into the couch, but you don't have any injuries? I don't have any injuries. I was just very frightened. He's a lot bigger than me. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. I'm 5'8", 120. And he picked me up and was carrying me out of the house. And I said, let me get my things at least if we're gonna break up. And he wouldn't let me get my things. And when I reached around to try to get my things, I can hear myself echoing in the background, ma'am. It's just the phone system. The phone system has got a delay. And he pushed me down from the door all the way to the couch. And when they come here, they'll see how far that is. He threw me across the room. And I was very startled. I was laying on the floor. Okay. All right. And I killed him. Okay. Ma'am, this is what I want you to do. You're sure he's not, ma'am, you're sure he's not breathing at all? Do I have to go touch him? No, that's okay. They actually have someone that's outside almost right now, but I'm gonna stay on the line with you, okay? When they tell me to, what I'm gonna tell you to do is walk to the door with your hands up because we want you to come out safely, okay? So that's why I'm staying on the line with you. Ma'am, I'm just a dispatcher. I'm nothing but a dispatcher, so I can't tell you. My job is to keep you online, make sure my officers get there safely and nothing happens to them, okay? Ma'am, and then because he was twitching and I knew he was going to die anyway and he was making funny noises, I shot him a couple more times just to kill him because I knew he would have been... I'm sorry, you said you shot him a couple more times after that? Yeah. How many times did you shoot him total? I don't know. Okay, because he was twitching and you knew he was going to die, so you shot him again? Enough to make sure he was dead because he was twitching so bad and I didn't want to watch him lay there and twitch. So you shot him instead of calling 911? Do what? Yeah, I did because I knew he was going to die anyway. Okay. It was pretty bad. Can you see out front of your apartment at all? I can't see out front. I can see to the back, but not the front. Okay. Do I walk? Which way do I? I can hear him. Do I walk out the front door? Nope. I want you to stay right where you're at. Stay right where I'm at? Stay where you're at. Don't tell me. Okay. Well, they tell me when they're... Well, I have to give them a key to let them in. I actually have to walk all the way down there to let them in. All right. I want... Okay. Is he out front? Ma'am, what I want you to do is I want you to set the phone down, but I do not want you to hang it up. I want you to go to your front door. I want you to open it up, walk outside the door with your hands in front of you. Okay, I will. And your hands open. The officers are at the top of the steps, but sit the phone down. Okay, I'm going to do it.
When police arrived to Ryan's two-bedroom condo at 9 p.m., they found Ryan slumped over on the floor under his table. Shayna was taken to the Highland Heights Police Department for questioning. Despite her being read her Miranda rights and immediately requesting an attorney, she wanted to talk. And talk. And talk. For the next 3 hours, she wouldn't stop talking to the point that officers couldn't take it anymore and were switching off in shifts to relieve each other during her bizarre, manic ramblings. Investigators recall that she was making strange noises, forcing herself to cry, and as soon as they left the room, she stopped immediately. They said it was like she flipped a switch. They watched Shayna in the interrogation room with a mixture of fascination and disbelief. The following is some of the most bizarre interview behavior I have ever seen.
I do want an attorney.
Okay, so I can't ask you any questions at all.
And I shot him in self-defense because he's done stuff before where I've hit my head on the headboard and could have died.
Okay, what was his name?
The man that I killed? Ryan Carter Poston.
I'll be with you in just a second.
He was throwing me around the room, like picking me up and like had my face and stuff. If you go to jail, are you allowed to keep your phone? You have very pretty teeth. Did you have orthodontia? I had my head banged and do a few different things tonight. Can I talk to you? I have somebody to talk to. And I wasn't doing anything that was mean. I was like begging him to stay in the relationship and be with me because I knew that we weren't really loving each other. Ryan had told me that he loved me and wanted to be with me. And I guess somewhere along the way, that grew to hate. He was screaming how much he hated me. I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend in self-defense. It's not funny, but the stuff he was saying to me was so abusive while he was throwing me around the room. I'll never forget it. I think in the midst of that, my love turned to hate. I remember screaming, reaching up to grab the shirt. How dare you mock my family? How dare you talk please speak really of my mother and my family? If I don't get any serious consequences, then I could really be happy just having a career and maybe not even ever getting married. Because this is very traumatic, It's very traumatic for me to live with it. He had put his arm across the table, and there's a lamp, and he had put his arm across the table and had it in my face and was screaming at me at the top of his lungs after he had thrown me around the room, and was saying emotionally to me, "You're a f***ing hillbilly. I hate you. I hate everything about you for what you are to my family." And he was screaming, and he had his hand on the table, and he wasn't completely standing up. He was like this. He was sitting, he was enough that when I shot him, he went like this. Literally. That's when I knew he was dead. Or close to it, and twitching. And I let him, I still, even though it hurt, I still, enough of me, loved him. That I couldn't stand to watch him twitch. I knew he was going to die, or have a completely deformed face. He's very vain. One of our last conversations we had that was good was that he wants my best friend who's a dentist to do his veneers and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job. He wanted. How sweet the sound that sings a rest. I'll be right back. Thank you. Yes, I do.
Here's what's gonna happen right now, Shayna, okay, with everything that we have, I'm gonna have to charge you with murder.
What degree?
Murder, there's no degree.
While Shayna was being held at the police station and Ryan's condo was being processed as a crime scene, Audrey sat at the local pub waiting for Ryan to show up. She kept texting Ryan, getting no response and becoming more and more annoyed. She couldn't believe that Ryan had stood her up on the date that they were both so excited about. Back at the Highland Heights Police Department, Shayna Hubers was arrested and charged in the murder of Ryan Carter Poston. She was held on a $5 million bond. The following day, Ryan's dad, Jay, was riding his bike around northern Kentucky when he got a call from an unknown number. Not recognizing the number, he let it go to voicemail. He made a stop and listened to the message, which he recites verbatim. "Mr. Poston, we have a body here which we think may be a member of your family." He didn't return the coroner's call. He stated that he just couldn't. Doing that, he said, would have made it real.
A couple days after the murder, the Highland Heights police gave us permission to go to his condo and take some things out. And I remember clearly walking up to that door, and in my head I could envision my son being wheeled out of that room in a body bag. And you just think to yourself, oh my God, that's my child's blood. And that's where my son took his last breath. No one should ever have to clean the blood of their murdered child off the walls of his home. But no one else was going to do that but me. That was my duty.
Due to her extremely high bail, Shayna remained incarcerated until the trial. The trial for Ryan Poston did not begin until April 13th of 2015. Shayna entered a plea of not guilty. The defense claimed that the shooting was in self-defense and that it was Shayna who was the victim. They alleged that Ryan was abusive toward Shayna. The prosecution asserted that Shayna murdered him in cold blood after he tried to break up with her. Both sides used the couple's drama-filled texts to back up their claims. During the trial, Audrey Bolt also briefly took the stand.
Funny and very smart, and I found him very entertaining, and that led me to accept an invite to go on a date with him.
The defense claimed that Shayna and Ryan had a violent argument after she arrived at his condo. However, Ryan's neighbors recalled that on the evening of October 12th, Shayna was only there for a couple of minutes before they heard two loud pops that they thought sounded like fireworks. A few minutes later, they heard 4 more. Shayna's former cellmate, Cecily Miller, testified that Shayna bragged about killing Ryan and that Shayna claimed she was going to plead insanity.
And she shot him, and what I remember is when she shot him, it was like bang, 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 sprayed, and then she sat there and she said, "I just gave him nose job. He always wanted," cackled, laughed, and she shot him, he fell, and then when she shot him, she stood up, shot him more, spray, I reckon, and that's when he was twitching.
Shayna also allegedly stated that she was too smart to plead insanity because she had the IQ of Einstein, so instead she was going to plead the battered wife syndrome. The defense did not put Shayna Hubers on the stand. On April 23, 2015, after 5 hours of deliberations, the jury came back with a verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Shayna Hubers, guilty of murder under instruction number 3.
On the day of sentencing, Ryan's younger sister, Catherine, took the stand to tell the court about the enormous loss that the family had suffered.
He made us complete, and without him, there is always a chair that's going to be empty. He will never be able to have all the things that he deserved to have in his life.
Shayna looked stunned as the judge sentenced her to 40 years in prison. He told her that he did not believe she was the victim of domestic violence and that he had actually considered giving her more than the recommended sentence. On August 25, 2016, in a shocking twist, Shayna was granted an appeal overturning her conviction. The appeal was granted on the basis that one of her jurors withheld a felony conviction. Kentucky law prohibits convicted felons from serving on juries, and one of her jurors had a prior conviction for a child support charge. Shayna still managed to make headlines outside of the courtroom. In June of 2018, Shayna married a transgender inmate, Unique Taylor, who was awaiting trial on robbery charges. Shayna's retrial began on August 18th of 2018. This time, Shayna took the stand to give her account of the alleged abusive relationship.
And he picked me up from an awkward angle and threw me from the doorway of his bedroom into the other room. I thought that he was going to snap my neck because of the way that he was jerking my head around. And he had all of his weight on me, and he had all of his weight on my body, and he was jerking my head around with his hand in my hair. I don't believe I said that night, no.
And did you seek medical treatment?
No.
And it was offered to you multiple times, wasn't it?
Yes. When he was first shot, he let out a really loud noise that sounded like an animal. It sounded like a bear, some type of wild animal.
It's easy to look at Shayna and think that she's obviously a few fries short of a Happy Meal. However, during the trial, she was officially diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. During Shayna's retrial, Ryan's father, Jay Poston, also took the stand.
The status was my son wanted her not to be around, and the status was she kept coming around. The time he was a small child to the time he graduated law school, he would always kiss us on the cheek and say, I love you. He said, if you leave now, maybe in the future, you two can get together, because I have found that life is about timing. And I said, and your timing is just not right.
On August 29, 2018, jurors yet again deliberated for 5 hours and came back with a verdict of guilty. On October 18, 2018, almost 6 years from the date of Ryan's murder, Shayna was again sentenced to 40 years in prison. Ryan's family once again stood in court to give their emotional accounts of how Ryan's death had affected them.
I wake in the middle of the night, every night, anguishing that I may forget the sound of my son's voice, the warmth of his embrace.
There was hardly a dry eye in the courtroom as Ryan's sister Catherine testified at the sentencing hearing. With her, she carried a teddy bear that was made from the shirt that Ryan was killed in. It contained a recording of Ryan's voicemail greeting, which she played for the court.
This teddy bear was made by Jay's sister. This is Ryan's shirt. That's it. That's only a voicemail.
The evidence was profound, debilitating, and lingering, leaving the Poston and Carter families' lives crushed.
Come here, Catherine.
Come here. Come here. She didn't tell any of us or Michelle or anybody about this.
a little bit?
The teddy bear went off the other day when I was playing with Henry. Nobody had touched it. So I thought, these people don't know who Ryan is. They'll never get to meet him. So why don't I bring a piece of Ryan there into that courtroom and show them who he is, the softness of his voice. Just through a voicemail, you can tell who a person is. That was just came to me when I was playing with Henry.
Shayna Hubers filed for divorce from Unique Taylor, also known as Richard McBee, in January of 2019, stating that her life sentence constituted the marriage as irretrievable. Shayna is eligible for parole in the year 2032, taking into account time already served. As with any murder case, it's not just the story of the victim that's important. It's also the story of their loved ones that are left behind with the enormous loss and grief to carry around for the rest of their lives. Ryan's family struggles daily with the hole that Ryan's death has left. After Shayna's sentencing, Jay Poston told reporters, "My name ends with this. He was my lineage. He was the last of me."
When I am not in that courtroom, she does not exist to me. She flat out doesn't exist. I will not let this woman have power over me. You can't let evil win.
Audrey Bolte has moved on with her life and is now living in Colorado. However, she still thinks about that night and what would have happened had anything been different, and if they would have met at Ryan's condo as they had originally planned instead of the local bar. She also can't help but wonder what role their date had in his death. For live discussions on this case and more, please join us every Wednesday for True Crime and Wine Wednesdays, only available through Patreon.